welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, Miss Paulette Forbes, Advanced Imaging Technologist. She'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV.
Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered.
Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. Like I said, I have a very special guest for you, Miss Paulette Forbes, Advanced Imaging Technologist. Yeah, she's going to explain exactly what all that entails. But Paulette, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Lydia.
Well, it's great to have you here. We're looking forward to finding out all the great things and, of course, a lot of big things in the community that we'll be tackling in this episode. So it's great.
Thank you, and it's really a pleasure to be here. I'm happy that I'm here to
absolutely
say what I believe the community is waiting to hear.
Absolutely. So before we even get into all that good stuff, who is Paulette Forbes? Give me a little bit of a rundown about you.
Paulette Forbes came to this country when I was 15 years old. Single mom, raised 3 children, 2 boys, a girl. Thank God they are an asset to society. Mm-hmm. I've worked at Brookdale. Thank God for Brookdale Hospital. Worked there for the last 31 years.
Wow.
Started as a radiologic technologist and have been able to upgrade and advance myself to the point where I now hold the title of an advanced imaging technologist. What that means, I'm the person that if you come to the emergency room radiology department, you could see me in the CAT scan area, performing CAT scan. You come to the main department of radiology on the 4th floor at Brookdale, you'll see me performing mammography. If you go a little bit further in the main department, you might just run into me in the IR department or the IR suite. So that's what being an advanced imaging tech is. You are a professional licensed in more than one modalities or one area of the radiologic field.
And that makes sense. It's such a lavish title because at first you can't really tell exactly, for the untrained person like myself, you'd be like, all right, so what exactly does all this entail? But it's great. When did you develop your passion? When did you realize that you wanted to be in radiology or even healthcare on a whole?
To be truthful, I wanted to be a nurse. But after, probing into what nurses do, I realized could not deal with certain things.
Yep.
Therefore, I just say not for me, but I love people. So when I heard of a radiologic technologist like you, didn't know what it means, what it entails, did my research and realized, wow, that's for me. Because being a radiologic technologist, it allows you to meet different people. Not just meet different people, but an area like East Flatbush, East New York, East Brooklyn, where we have the largest mammography, breast cancer rate.
Really? So
Yes.
that is a known fact?
Yes, that's a known fact. So for me, meeting these patients who come in, some probably already at stage 4 breast cancer. Why? Because they are afraid to come forth to get a mammogram, or they may not have insurance. So at that point, you now become the psychiatrist without the license. You now become the counselor without the license. You now become just the ordinary person who they want to listen, hear them, and sometimes just say nothing. Just be there for them.
And a lot of times, be a friend almost, especially if it's somebody, if they're coming frequently.
Correct.
And you're seeing a familiar face.
We get the same patients every year. Being there for 31 years, people know me by name. They'll even come and ask for the technologist Paulette by name. or co-workers by name, because you develop a relationship with them. You're a part of the community. For me, I live in the community. I lived in East New York for a number of years, Strauss Street, until I moved to Canarsie. But I'm still connected
Yes,
to
absolutely.
the community. I wouldn't trade it for any place else.
Now, a big part of your job, you touched upon the cancer and the breast cancer in particular, which is still one of the leading cancers for women, and that's astonishing rates that we have these going on. Would you say that the East Flatbush, or we know the realities of the neighborhood and how high these numbers are? What do you think could be done? Is it? I know you touched upon it being people are scared, and especially people more from the Caribbean or whatnot, they don't always want to go to the doctor right away. People from a certain generation, they rather do it holistically.
Correct.
But it gets to a point where holistic you need real medical treatment.
That's right. I agree. What I would say to every woman out there, don't be afraid, because early detection is the key. And once you know, it's easier to deal with it than when you don't know and then you know and it's too late. So what we are doing here with One Brooklyn Health, with Rogeson, the New York City Department of Health, along with DC 37, 1199, SCIU, I mean, so many organizations, NICENA, we're all coming together. And I don't want to get in trouble here by missing out on people's names.
So everybody connected,
that's
okay?
right. We came together because we have concerns as members and also as community individuals. So the concerns that we have is in regards to funding, resources, and life expectancy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here today to really admonish the community. On April the 27th, we will be having a forum, and we are asking the community to please come out and be a part of it. We have 4 major topics that we'll talk about later. So I'm saying,
yeah, mark your calendars, April 27th, and Ms. Paulette's going to give a lot more information in a little bit, but I think it's going to be important because people need to come out, and we're all a part of this community, and the breast cancer rate, the HIV rate, we're pulling some numbers and not the type of numbers that we want.
that's true. And Lydia, the key is we may live in a neighborhood, but we're still not a community. And this call to action that we're doing with East Brooklyn is about community. And what that means for us is I'm living next door to you, Lydia, for the last 10 years, but I don't know your name, right? I may say good morning, good evening, good night, right? But that's as far as it goes. So what we will be doing on the 27th is having East Brooklyn come out and take ownership. And ownership means each one teach one, each one, be responsible for their neighbor.
Right. Awesome. Well, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. So, Ms. Paulette, let's also talk about, some of the pending issues. We know that East Flatbush, East New York, and Brookdale is such a big hospital. I mean, that's been known for a long time. That's the hospital for that area.
Yes, it is. And we are known as a safety net hospital. What does that mean? we're in a catchment area because between Jamaica Hospital, Kingsbrook, Kings County, downstate, it's Brookdale. So we're catching the community that lies between all those institutions, right? We are now one of, I believe, 3 or possibly 2 major trauma centers in Brooklyn, right?
I've heard that.
So we play a very important role within the community.
And unfortunately, there seems to be a lot of trauma. So
Oh
you guys
my
get
God.
used, especially Labor Day time, major holidays.
Now it's even more because we just we were approved for a new program that's called LVO.
Okay.
It's large vessel obstructions. So now a patient who possibly have a stroke, this is a level beyond just a stroke. It's an obstruction of a large vessel.
Wow.
Right? So what we're seeing now is for the last 2 weeks, we're getting more patients. But we're so happy that we're able to serve the community because that's what we're all about, serving the community.
Now, share with us some of the improvements that Brookdale, because over the years, Brookdale has worked very hard to really change the image, change how they're looked at, change not just being the little East New York hospital, the little Brownsville hospital. They've done, and I've been in Brooklyn most of my life, and you could see that it's come a long way.
It has. Being there for 31 years, almost 33 because I did my internship as a radiologic technologist there for 2 years. And I've seen, watch, and have been a part of the changes with Brookdale. And one of the things is, like anything or anyone, even though you have changed as you mature in life, people will always remember who you were. So Brookdale does not get the fair opportunity or the chance that we deserve, but we're still thriving to serve the community. In spite of, the bad raps, every day we go to work, we're ready, we're willing, and we're able to serve. And we would like the community, East Brooklyn, to know we are there to partner with you. We are willing to serve you. Just give us an opportunity because that's why we are there.
And you guys have quite a few centers. Let's share about that because I really want everybody at home to know, because of course you're representing Brookdale, but the community on a whole.
So we have, I believe, 7 or 8 centers, clinics, medical centers. They're located all over Brooklyn. We have Flatbush, Eastern Parkway, Pine Avenue, Pennsylvania Avenue, Linden Boulevard, right? We also have our urgent care center, right? Urgent care center at this time, it's not to be used as an emergency room. It's where you cannot reach your primary doctor because you may have a cold or, a minor, right, a minor injury. This is where you go. The wait is approximately 45 minutes to an hour right now. But we are expanding ourselves every day. And at the same time, we're doing it with the community in mind. Because the emergency room is for emergencies, right? And when you have an influx of patients coming in, that's not really an emergency, then you get so populated within that emergency room that now the real emergencies, right, may be drowned out or delayed, right? So one of the reason why we are doing this East Brooklyn call to action, because we realize as members of the community that we don't always take ownership, right, for anything. So we came together and we decided that we don't get the funding, the resources, and we realized that the life expectancy, right, is less than other communities, like maybe, let's say, Mill Basin, right? They're expected to live a number of years longer than someone who live in East New York or Brownsville. So we will be talking about 4 different topics on April the 27th, right? Those 4 topics are health and housing. And the question that we'll be posing to the community, because we're not going with a ready mix or pre-cooked agenda for the community, right? We're going prepared to have a dialogue with them,
Exactly.
to hear what is it that they want, what is it that they're willing to do to help themselves as a community. So when we talk about health and housing, the question will be, will I be able to live in this community for the next 5 years, right? Because asthma, when you think of asthma, right, what contributes to that? Housing, right? Maybe you have mildew in your house, right? You
Mold.
should mold, right? You should be aware that these are some of the things that will trigger that asthmatic attack, right? We talk about the housing that you're living in, right? Now, the sanitation department doesn't come 7 days a week, right? But as a community, we need to take ownership where we say to ourselves, if I see garbage on my sidewalk, let's come together and be able to clean up our sidewalk, because that's where we live, right? We will be talking about premature mortality. Again, life expectancy, right? Why is it that someone who lives in Mill Basin is expected to live 5 or 10 years longer than you, Lydia, who lives in East New York, right? Food and fitness. In
big
East
one.
New York, the food that we get,
Terrible.
every corner store, what do you see first? Potato chips, right? Something salty, something unhealthy, sodas, excess sugar. So we're saying the types of food that are available instead of the quality food that we should be getting. But what are you willing to do?
Absolutely.
To
Well,
get
hold
it.
that thought, because we're going to take a quick break and we'll go into the rest of that in just a moment. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So, Miss Paulette, we're going over the different topics that on April 27th, if you come out. So, we're talking about housing. We're going to talk about health, food and fitness. And that's such a big topic because
Yes, it is.
I live in East Flatbush. And one of the first things I noticed from moving from Crown Heights, where it's getting a little gentrified, so you have little fancier delis, and you might actually get some vegetables and markets and all these great things. Then you go to East Flatbush, and there's Kennedy Fried Chicken, Popeyes, Burger King,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, can I get I want greens. I want
Yeah,
something
yeah.
nutritious.
Yeah. And fitness and food, they go hand in hand. Because if you're eating unhealthy and you're not doing anything to help yourself when it comes to your health, all you're doing is shortening your life expectancy again. So we need to hear from the community. Are you willing to demand more? Are you willing to say, we don't want any more bodegas in our community unless you're willing to sell fresh veggies, right? Fresh vegetables, fresh fruits that we're able, don't sell us all the sugary drinks, but give us drinks that is more healthy for our children and for us. workforce, when you look at workforce, right? It can be a generational thing, because if I've not gone to college, then my children may not want to go to college, because they're looking at mom, dad, and saying, well, they didn't do it, so why do I need to do it? So we will be coming to ask you, what is it that you really want? Not just for yourself, but also for your community. We're going there on April the 27th at PS 156 Waverly to have a panel with the community where they'll be able to ask their questions, give their ideas. We will be able to work with them, right? We're not going there to fix it, right? We don't have that ability right now. But what we're going there with someone like Dr. Torian Easterling. He's the Assistant Commissioner for New York City Department of Health. We're going there with someone like the One Brooklyn Health CEO, Lori Brown, who
bringing up the big dog.
Yes, we are. 1199 SCIU President George Gresham. Carrie Edwards, our Public Relations Vice President. So we're going there with folks from Rogerson, 37, DC 37, Neisner, people who will have the know-how when it comes to directing the community where they need to go, and not just directing them, but we will be there as partners with them to help them in whatever steps they may need to take to get to where they need to be. So we are asking the community, please come out on April the 27th. We know it's a Saturday, but it will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please be there at PS 156 Waverly, 104 Sutter Avenue in Brooklyn, East New York. We're looking forward to having East Brooklyn come out in your hundreds, your thousands. We're there to work with you and to help to guide you along with other organizations and groups. And
I think it's good because having these top contenders come out shows the people, hey, these people in high positions and high profile people are coming out and taking the time to want to hear what the community has to say.
That's right.
So it's in our interest to come out and show them, hey, you're not wasting your time, because if we're not interested, then it's like, why should they be interested?
That's right. And we're willing to invest our time in the community, so we're asking the community to invest their time in their community.
And how do they get in contact with you if they want any more information?
Any more information, they can contact us at ebcall2, the number 2 action, at gmail.com.
All right, yes. So that's ebcalltoaction at gmail.com. You click there directly and you'll be able to you can register, you can get more information, and it's going to be health and economic justice. There's a lot.
There will be. And please don't leave your children at home. Please
so children are welcome.
It's a community, and everybody makes up the community. And we want our children to see what we're doing and see our eagerness that we bring on that day, and understand that if you want to live here in East New York for the next 5 years, you have to start getting ahead of yourself and doing what you believe is necessary for you to be able to live in this community for the next 5 years.
And what final words, what takeaways do you want anybody at home to really, from this episode, what's the key thing that you think is so important?
The key thing that is so important, and thank you, Lydia, for asking, is the one big call for April the 27th, call to action, is our 2020 census. Very important. So we're asking community to come out. The community includes area code 1121, zip code 1121, 1128, 11209, and the list goes on. Why? Because we find that if we are not willing to fill out the census form, we lose funding, right? We find that our community could now be zoned in another community, right? So we get less and less. We are asking everyone, come out on that day. You will be able to get your information in regards to the 2020 census, so that when that time comes, you will not be afraid, but you will be willing to make sure you're filling out your census form.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's the only way for us to get counted.
Thank you. I agree.
It's the only way for us to count.
Yes,
it's the
it
only
is.
For us to make up numbers.
That's right.
And really be shown in the population.
That's right. And there's power in numbers. Because when you have numbers, you'll get your funding, you'll get your resources, you'll get the things that you need to thrive as a community.
Absolutely. Because if we don't get represented, if we don't make up a large enough number, we'll be discredited.
That's right.
And I understand, and this would be for another episode. I'd love to have you come back and talk about the census. So we will definitely focus on that. But thank you so much for joining us today. It's been absolutely amazing. It's Paulette Forbes. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be back again next week. Same time, same place. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us.
Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you. We really look forward to hearing from you.